Now let's go and create a shadow manually, for this car here. Create a new solid. Let's bring it here in the middle. This car is in the middle. So layer, new solid, and change the color to black. From here you can change the color. Leave everything as it is, because this is the size of the composition. And write down shadow car manual. Right, and let's go and scale it down from here, like that, and from here as well. Move the car, in the center, and let's go and bring it here. Scale it down, and from here as well. Let's go apply a motion blur to it. Let's go to effects, select your layer, effects, blur, and apply directional blur. And let's change the direction, this horizontally, and apply the blur. Right, and press T, on your keyboard, and opacity. This is the opacity, and you can turn it down. Opacity of the layer from here. Okay, let's make it a bit thinner as well. The shadow will not move with the car because it's not attached to the car. So let's bring it to the position first here somewhere, and then pick whip, the same way, and bring it on top of the car, and move the layer behind it. And now if you animate it, you see that the shadow is moving with the car. So now it looks a bit realistic. Shadow is created as well. Simple way of doing it. Now let's turn on the lights and camera. So we have done with basic animation of the car and the text and the shadows as well, but the shadows were manual shadows. So but you want to apply shadow to to the road, like real shadows. So for that you need to create a base, first. Right, okay, let's go and apply lights. We'll go and select our project window. You can also close it down. And we are here in the project window now. Let's go to layer, new, and apply lights. This is light 1, and point light, parallel light, ambient light. We'll apply point light, and cast shadows. And press OK. Right now nothing is happening because the reason is the whole thing is is not 3D. So as soon as you turn on the 3D layer, it will affect that layer. For example, this is the text. Turn on the 3D here. You can see the light is applied to this. It's changed color. But we don't want to change the color. We don't want the light to affect the color of this text. You only want the light to cast shadow for this. So for that, you should press AA on your keyboard and say accept lights, turn it off. We don't want the lights to affect it, so you can turn off the lights from here. And cast shadow, yes, you want this text to cast shadow, but right now you see it's not casting the shadow. So but you have to create a plane for it, first. Right, let's go and make a new layer, new solid, and let's call it shadow real. Let's make it white color so that we can see what's happening. This layer has covered our whole composition. What we're going to do is just change this into 3D and rotate it and bring it to the level of the road. So press R on your keyboard and rotation, rotate it X, in the X axis. Either make it 90 or minus 90, it's up to you. And now you've got selection tool. This will move the layer down towards Z axis, so that it's on the road. Let's increase the size of this plane. You can increase it manually from here to cover the whole area. Right, and let's go apply a grid to it. Go to effects and preset and type grid, and apply this grid so that we can see, how it looks. Right, so let's bring it down here in this level. Press E and you can turn off the grid from here. Also press AA on your keyboard to turn off accept shadow, accept lights. We'll say accept shadows on, yes. You keep it that way. And let's bring it down. Let's turn off our manual shadows because we don't need it at the moment. Select shadow reel and then turn off the grid. Okay, right now it's not casting any shadows because the shadows are casted backwards because of the light position. So let's go to views. Let's go to top view. From here you can select all the views. Top view, you can see that the shadow is casted, but it's it's casting the shadow, but it's on the other side. If you see where the car is here, and we need to move this light at the back of the car, so let's move it, so the shadow is cast towards us, towards the camera. Let's go back to active camera. Alright, okay, let's turn on the 3D for the other layers as well, the layers that are going to cast shadow. So we need the tree, right? We also need rear wheel, front wheel, and the car as well. So now we can see the shadow being created. And the same thing that we'll do is for the car is press AA, and we don't want the accept lights and accept lights and cast shadows. Yes, we want to turn it on. So it's casting shadow. Press AA for this as well. Cast shadows on and accept lights off. Right. For the other rear wheel as well. AA. Cast shadows on. Accept lights off. And for the tree we'll do the same. Press AA on your keyboard and cast shadows on. Accept lights off. Now let's go and see how the whole thing is placed from the top view. Let's go to top again. Right, the car is here, and Maxafter Basics is here as well. But let's move this forward towards the camera. Move it forward, here somewhere. And tree is also, let's move the tree forward as well. And let's bring it closer, the light, let's bring it closer. This part is a bit tricky, but you will understand it with time. Okay, let's go back to active. Okay, let's reduce the size of the text. For the size, just select here, press shift, and it will decrease the size. Let's work on half resolution because then it gets very heavy for the computer. Let's go and adjust the plane, and let's select the front. See, in the front viewport you can see everything is on the plane. Actually, let's move this a little bit up, so that it's exactly with the tires, leveled with the tires. This is the text. Select the text, bring it up, level it, and here bring it up. Should be leveled, with the base. And go to anchor point and bring it down here somewhere. And now if you reduce size, you will do it according to the anchor point. Press shift. Okay, let's go to active camera again. There's another way of moving the position, of the elements is from here as well. Z, move it forward, so it comes here somewhere. Let's say the trees here. And if you can also, apply camera to it, new camera, and from here you can change, 35 mm, 50, 28, depends. Okay, the camera is applied. Now if you press C, on your keyboard, it'll give you different options of camera, which is from here as well. Orbit camera tool. You can orbit it, like this. That's how it looks. So Control Z again, and then the other one is track XY camera tool. You can track it, move it the way you want. So you can do Control Z, and then from here you can track Z position, move it back or forward. So I will not be using those for now, so just wanted to show you the camera. Okay, so let's turn down the size of this again, select here and bring it here somewhere so it's in the middle of the road. Save your work as well. Okay, let's go and write the other text as well. Okay, select your text and edit and duplicate. You can also do it, you should delete this, select it, Control D on your keyboard. It duplicates the layer. Now let's go and move it up in the Y position, and you can edit this text again by going here or double clicking on the layer itself, and then just write after space effects training, right, and turn down the scale, select shift and move the position, save your work. So this is how you change the text. If you want to change the if you want to change the color, let's say you want to make it blue, and another way of changing the color is pick this dropper and put it on top of this. It'll give you exactly the same color. So now let's say you want this text to start from here somewhere. Let's go and see the RAM preview, how it looks. So this green line is showing the RAM preview, progress of the RAM preview. Now the video is a bit choppy because I'm recording it, so that's why it's skipping frames. So the text comes here, the shadow, and also the other text.